Here comes the Moonberry Cup. Flying in from really far away. You can tell it's so small. That's how you can tell it's far away. Look at it. Oh, it's beautiful. Incredible. The majesty of the cup. It's the Moonberry Cup, everybody. Season 2. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Whoops. There we go. Okay, let's welcome everybody here in chat. And we have Azmio here, Talande, and Smoke Pigs. Welcome in, everybody.
Can you hear me?
Yep, Talande, I can hear you.
Oh god, the
Nice.
double audio from the stream as well. Got to sort that out. There we go.
Just a second, I'm trying to get Balancer off of my controller this time.
Balancer, nice. Come on, Balancer, get out of here.
Let's go Talande.
Let's go.
It's actually Talande, everyone. It's actually Talande.
It's actually Talande. Yeah, Moonberry. The first race of the season 2, we had a surprise twist where we had Talande come in and then Balancer took over. But this is the real one and only Talande here. Welcome in, guys. And before we get started, I'm just going to go over one more time the guidelines. It's very simple. When you're ready to go, you're going to go to the postcard screen. That's how I know you're ready. If you need a bathroom break or something, just don't go to the postcard screen. When I see that screen, I'm going to know you're ready to run. We will count down 3, 2, 1, go. Try to sync those up as best as we can. It's going to make for the most enjoyable in-chapter experience. After each level, open up the journals. We'll take a look and compare. Now, Prologue and Summit do not have a postcard screen, so we won't be able to ready up there. So instead, we'll just get ready at the climb screen. We'll do the same countdown, 3, 2, 1, go, and that's it. Very, very easy. And it looks like both runners are in place. So without any further ado, why don't we just kick off this Moonberry Cup here? Runners are ready.
Ready?
Okay.
Azmio's locked in.
Azmio is locked in. It looks like both are ready to go into Prologue. So let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go. And okay, so this is Celeste, guys. This is Celeste. This is
I don't know if you've all played Celeste's chat, but it's really good.
It is a very good game. Yeah, I agree, Smoke. It's
You should definitely check this game out.
You should check it out. If you haven't ever played it, I would say it's one of the best games to play through casually. But also, if you've ever thought, hey, I kind of like speedrunning, and I don't really know a game that would be fun to learn. What should I speedrun? This is one of the best speedrunning games as well.
Absolutely. It's so just built from the ground up for speedrunning, and it's just so inviting. And every screen, gives you that opportunity to go through it and learn it and really try your best at this game.
Yeah,
it's
Prologue,
very worth.
Prologue came and went. Hey, welcome in, Glory. Thank you, Ickle Chris. Good luck to old runners. Django Rango with the sub. Thank you so much. Welcome in, guys. So yeah, Prologue came and went. We're gonna ready up here on the next screen here for Forsaken City. We'll do a countdown. City is where the real speedy stuff starts. So let's begin. Forsaken City in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, as you were saying, this is where the speed really begins. This is, even though it's one of the shorter levels in the entire game, and even though it's at the start of the 90% run, it's actually one of the most competitive ILs that there is.
Absolutely.
There's just so much that you can do to make this level go by as fast as possible. And so runners have really optimized this. Every single movement frame is perfect at the high end, and you get some ridiculous times coming out of City.
Yeah, and so far I am really liking what I'm seeing from both these runners at a 43 minutes, 44 minute in that range. you're going to want to see a combination of being safe and clean and strats. And up until just then, both runners had a perfect city with no deaths. Azmio getting stuck on this screen, which is deceptively tricky. Now he's through. Talande pulling ahead here in the early game.
Can be an annoying screen, that one. But as you said, Majama, you do just want to be seeing some clean play here. There's not a lot of time to be lost. I know a lot of people reset on City. I'm quite guilty of that myself. Just because you know how clean you can do it, you know how fast zero deaths can be. It's not a huge difference in time, but it can really help out. Just with the confidence, I feel. But both runners really completing this level very clean, very quickly.
Yeah, Talande first to the finish line. Azmio right behind. Very nicely done by both players.
Yeah, this was gonna restart for me.
Yeah, that's the. This is the race format that's so tricky because as speedrunners we practice a lot, and if you're off to a bad start, it's just very easy just to reset and try and get good momentum. But it's a race format where anything can happen, and you cannot reset. You just have to push through.
But not a huge time discrepancy at all. I mean, it's 3 deaths, so it's 10 seconds really, and that's really just the time that it took to reset through those deaths. So
exactly, yeah.
No time loss at all, really. 10 seconds
very
in
small.
the early game.
Clean run from Talande there, very nicely done. As we get ready to head into Old Site.
Still in disbelief that I'm seeing Talande play Celeste. Still in disbelief that I'm seeing Talande play Celeste. They said it couldn't be done. Unbelievable. They said it couldn't be done. True.
Why is my
The
audio
balance are
doubling?
all long.
True.
Why is my audio doubling?
If you have either one of the game audios coming through, maybe that's why. Or maybe if someone's using push to talk, headset, that could also be why. I'm not sure. Not a headset, that could also be why. I'm not sure.
Hang on one sec, guys. Just checking this out. Audio. Hang on one sec, guys. Just checking this out. Audio. I got audio doubling. Check. 1, 2. Check.
Looky
Mic
here.
check.
It's Gorthal.
Okay. I think we're good. I think we've
Yeah.
sorted it out.
You think you got it?
We're good. Okay. Professional streamer. Professional streamer. Welcome in Gorthal. And we're getting ready to drop into one of my favorite levels. Old Site. Let's begin in 3, 2, 1, go.
It's the best level in the game.
Old Site again. One of the first 3 levels. The first 2 are pretty short, and the third one things change considerably. But this is the second level called Old Site. It introduces a really cool mechanic known as a dream block. You're going to see those shortly. After the players activate them, they're going to try and get as quick as they can to the mirror cutscene here. You can see Talande skipping it, and now the dream blocks have been activated. So the trick with them is you kind of can dash through them, and they will spit you out the other end. You have to be careful, though, because if you dash through them and there's a wall there, that's a death. There's a few places where that can kind of trip you up here.
Yeah, you want to be moving through those straight into the open air. There's a few places in sight where you can really lose a few seconds using the dream blocks badly, but there's a lot of really cool parts that you can just fly through the air. You can really close down a lot of time in this game by just making sure that your dream block exits are really clean.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you can be scrambling around on the other side, and it can really take some. I just saw Talande do an incredible little trick where he did a tactical crouch and Badlin went over him. I love that.
We got a bit of a sync up happening here. Both runners are almost frame perfect together now. We love to see it.
That's always really good. I really
Oh,
like the.
Azmio just threads the needle there through some
Very
battlements.
lucky.
That was very
very
lucky.
good.
And once
That was
again,
very
we are
good.
just on pace. We didn't even get a chance to talk about Battlim. This is the first appearance of her, and you can see multiple Battlins chasing around both runners through first try here. Wow.
Some very good stuff there. Very clean. Some very scary stuff, but very clean. It can be overwhelming.
That save by
some of the chase
Azmio
sections
was
in this game.
insane.
Yeah, really, really good. Already seen some great play. I really like the way that the Moonberry is set up in that each level is, its own individual race as well as the overarching race of who's going to get the best time at the end. But syncing the players up, it always gives it this really cool setup for each run.
Yeah, it makes
very
it feel
cool
like
to
a
see.
race for sure. And wow, this is going to be an extremely close finish. Both runners were nearly flawless there. A few deaths, I think.
I
on
think
either
that
side.
was like this exact same time, wasn't it?
223s. Let's
Incredible.
go. Let's take a look at those
Like
journals.
two
Wow.
frames, 3 frames.
Oh,
I'm not sure, but-
227.
Oh, okay. I read that a
226.
little bit
Oh,
wrong.
okay. Yeah, so it was
Okay.
way off. It was way off.
We're getting way too excited, Majama. I swear
Talande
it
with
said 223.
don't want to jinx Talande with the no-hitter here. But he is clean
Is
so
this-
far. Zero
It's a
deaths.
complete golden run from Talande.
Zero
Wow.
deaths. Wow. Okay. You can see each runner's PBs on top, but that is no indicator of how the runs are going to go. Obviously, Talande with a slightly faster PB, but it's race rules, and absolutely anything can happen, especially as we're heading into Celestial Resort.
Absolutely.
Let's get ready. Resort begins in 3, 2, 1, go.
So time and time again, this is entirely where the 80% run begins. First 2 levels are so throwaway. This is where you've really got to start paying attention.
Very true, Smoke. The difficulty ramps up here. First 2 levels are going to feel very introductory compared to this one. First off, you're seeing right now on both players' screens these
damn it.
spinning dust bunnies, aka meatballs, and they are cycle-based and they are deadly.
Yeah, you can get caught up in some really bad cycles into resort. The amount of times that the term I've heard you use this term, Mr. Majama, the bad side of muscle memory, when you just can't get out of a room because it just starts treating you so badly, and you think that you know what you're doing, and so you keep trying to do the same thing over and over and over, and unfortunately, it never quite works.
Yeah, momentum is a very real thing, and when you have a nice, smooth flow going and then it gets interrupted, sometimes the mistakes can just multiply, and you end up dying the same way a few times over and over.
Talking
And,
about multiplying mistakes.
yeah,
That's what I'm doing.
thank you for demonstrating that right as we're talking about it.
I'm always here.
But yeah, so a lot of these cycle-based rooms, and it's also so much longer of a chapter compared to the first 2. You can see the first 2. First stage was maybe 1.5 minutes. Second stage maybe 2.5 minutes at this level, and then you get to Resort, where this is probably going to be, easily 6 minutes.
Yeah, probably around 6 to 7 minute range. I think you're easily adding like 4 or 5 minutes on the time in this level. That said, there's all these cycles to worry about. It's a slightly longer level in itself. As the level goes on, it just gets more and more intense with different sections, different stuff you've got to think about. And then there's really probably the first big skip of the game as well, which can often have players kind of stumped if you get into a bad rhythm with demo.
Yeah, Demo Dash. Smoke's referring to Demo Dash, which we probably will be seeing a little bit later on in this chapter. Once each player, the goal here is to clean up 3 sections of the hotel. Each runner now is on their way to clean up the first. Once they have all 3 sections cleaned up, they're going to make their way to the roof, where it's probably going to be safe on the roof, right? I don't think there's anything up there to worry about.
No. The roof in video games is always good. You always get there, and there's something great waiting for you.
Azmio, you can see first to clean up the first section, and Talande right on his heels.
Yeah, this is another very close race right now. Very close race. I don't want to spoil the lore for people too much. If there's any people in the chat that haven't played Celeste at all, but as Benjamin was saying, you go around clearing up all these various blocks that are around the room in what we call big mess, huge mess, whatever it may be. But you're clearing up all these different color blocks. So there is a method that speedrunners use to make sure that they're going the right way and everything's set up in the next rooms. But you do actually see this change around when you go into other categories like all red berries. You see speedrunners doing another little nifty trick in this section. Well, they in fact just skip speaking to Ashiro the second time entirely. It's very cool to see.
Yeah, there are multiple categories here. Like most games, they have multiple speedrunning categories. Today, we are focusing on the any percent category, but in some upcoming Moonberry Cup races, we're going to be featuring some other categories, including all red berries, which Smoke just mentioned. That's where you play through the entire game, collecting every red berry along the way as fast as you can. So stay tuned for a future Moonberry Cup that features all red berries runs.
It's so cool to watch. Is all red berries, especially for someone like myself who's only ever collected the red berries once. It's very cool to see people zooming through those levels, and you see screens that you've probably only ever seen once in your Celeste career, because you only went in there to collect one berry. Do you remember there's a whole section in 5A called Search where you have to go and get a load of keys? There's so many berries in there.
It's been so long, and yeah, there's so many. There's so many, and that's the other cool thing about all red berries is you do get to see like the entire game as it was developed. And both runners now have cleaned up the hotel, are heading to the roof, and Talande approaching the skip. Let's see if he has it in his bag of tricks. It looks like he does. He's going to take the safety transition off the bottom, and now the demo dash. Smoke, how does this work?
I think it's RNG, honestly. No, so there's a couple of
It feels like it, yeah.
There's a couple of different setups for it. Whether you use the 1 or 2 pixel setup.
There it is. He's through. Nice down there.
Runner's choice, I think. You see Azmio not opting to take it at all, which is completely understandable.
Yeah, and nicely handled. That's the bottom route was done really well by Azmio. He's not going to lose any time because both players are now on the exact same frame almost. So.
Yeah, it's pretty hard this second room, honestly. I think that it's underrated how annoying it can be.
Tough death there by Azmio at the end of that run.
Yeah, that's it. Trying to do it at a pace.
Anytime you see a long room, that's where real time loss can happen if you're towards the end of it. And now both players on the roof, and oh man, it wasn't safe at all.
No. This is actually the worst case scenario, really, isn't it? Thought you were gonna get out of this all right, and there's in fact some big angry fella chasing you.
What do you like to? What do you think about this whole roof chase sequence in terms of speed running in Smoke?
This is one of the sections of the game that I've actually been saying recently that I have to start grinding out, even later on into your speedrunning career, whether you put 20 hours into learning the speedrunner, you put 200 hours into it, this section's still so annoying. It's so annoying. There's some really cool rooms, there's some really cool little nifty tricks, but this back end room where you're going through all the crystals into this final room that both runners are on now is just a hellscape. It is just a hellscape.
The final screen is so hard. You can see both runners, Smoke said, on there now, and it's just so much going on. It's such a long screen, and with Oshiro chasing you and the cycles happening, it's very costly if you take a death towards the end of the screen.
It's super difficult, and you just get yourself in such a bad mindset as soon as you take one death. You got to learn a death cycle and
wow, both runners through.
Well. Very
really
nice,
nicely
guys.
done.
Very nice.
It's going to be another very close. Very close. It was 12 deaths versus 13. Let's take a look at the journals here and see what we got. Smoke.
I'm on like a 1 second plus delay from you, so give me 1 second. Okay, so we had a 7:14 from Talande, and we had a 7:11 on Azmio. So the time difference now is 6 seconds.
6 seconds,
It's-
absolutely
it's
insane. It's a
extremely close.
very tight race.
And this is one of the closest races that we've had coming out of Resort, maybe ever.
Agree.
This is really good.
Okay, runners, whenever you're ready, let's ready. Oh, we're already at postcard screen. Okay, looks like we're ready to head into Golden Ridge. So let's get started. Golden Ridge begins in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, Golden Ridge. So much to talk
What a
about here. I
beautiful
mean,
level.
it's a beautiful chapter, number 1.
Yeah, I think if we could just take a minute to look at all the colors in the background and really appreciate the game design, that made me very happy.
It's a great idea. Let's just
Because
watch.
it's beautiful. It's truly exceptional. All the colors in this. I never get to take the time to really look at it because again, it's another chapter that's extremely quick. It's probably a 4 or 5 minute chapter, but it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
It's absolutely beautiful. And one of the things that you see here, which is introduced at this level, is the wind factor. So you can see on certain screens, like right now, Azmio and Talande right behind on this screen where those white lines moving across, that's indicating the wind. And it's going to change directions, it's going to change intensity, and it's going to change everything that these runners are used to. Because all the jumps, all the dashes, everything is a little bit different with that wind. So it's going to affect everything that they do.
Yeah, the difference between learning this level compared to learning some of the others is that you do have to think about the strats differently. You have to think about momentum differently because it just carries itself a little bit differently through the wind. So all the strats are very fast for this level, but you have to think about them a little bit more.
Nice there by Azmio. You can see Talande probably going to do the same thing where you can use the momentum of this block to push you forward. Ooh, Talande doesn't get his dash back, and he's going to have to try it again. But anytime you see an auto-scroller screen like this, runners are going to try and take advantage any way they can to make it go a little bit faster. Oh, Talande just can't get the extended hyper dash off of this block. A little bit tricky.
As a general rule, anything that's kind of the intended strat is going to be slower than what you want to be doing.
Nicely done.
So
Azmio up ahead, struggling a little bit himself. So Golden Ridge just proving to be difficult here for both runners.
Absolutely, it has a load of screens that are quite a bit longer and more difficult than they seem. Like I lose a lot of runs to Ridge personally. Like it's a way more kind of finicky chapter than a lot of people give it credit for.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of speed run strats, and this is something that we mention a lot, and anyone who does speed runs will be able to relate to it. But it's a constant struggle between doing it the safe, maybe safer intended way, and doing it the speed run strat way, where some of the strats are more technically difficult, and you kind of get caught between, okay, if I try this strat, even though it's harder, I can maybe fail it twice and still save time. And then the next thing you know, you failed it 3 or 4 times. Now you have a decision to make. Am I going to go for it again, or am I going to back out and do the standard strat? So it's a constant like tug of war internally for these runners.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that speaks as well for the idea of the leagues in the Moonberry Cup is that you definitely notice yourself get faster in kind of a leveled up sense with this game of speedrunning, and all of a sudden your movement will become better and you'll understand it a bit more. And even though you might have died 3-4 more times on a level, just because your strats were that a little bit faster, you're saving more time than you used to.
Yeah, absolutely. Ickle Chris says,
cool
you
fast
throw runs
strats.
dying on the same strat 9 times. Yes, that is...
I can attest to having seen Chris do that a few times.
Everyone knows that feeling, absolutely. So we're both runners now into the final section of the level, known as Cliff Face. Here's where you're going to see yet another thing being thrown at them, literally snowballs, and the wind is really amplified here as well.
Yeah, Azmio making some good moves through this section, and Talande really not too far behind him. Still very close. But this is the section that the wind really starts hitting. And you want to be making sure that you're utilizing your dashes properly to get through this section. There's some really cool strats to get through these screens, but unfortunately, if you get into like a bad area with them and with that wind pushing against you, you're going to be in a really bad way. This can be really difficult. This bit.
And both runners now we're synced up again here, going into what is the almost the third to last screen here. Welcome in, everybody, just tuning in. Looks like, hey, Comet, Hydri. I see Tolga. Lazy Potato, what's up, guys? Nice clean finish here, hopefully, for both. Flex Berry by Talande, and we're through. Wow, another
very nice,
absolutely razor-thin chapter here.
I also get that berry because it can be very scary to just dash straight right into that bubble on the side, even though you know it's straight into the bubble. It's too scary thinking about the spike on the other side of it. So I'll happily take the up dash there.
Anybody in chat know what up dash is?
Shut up. Okay, so here we've got about a discrepancy now of again, like it's so close. 1637. From Talande and a 1645.
We went from 6 seconds to 7 or 8 around there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's under
like
10 seconds at this stage in the game. Wow, it's a very close race.
Now we get to see 5A or 5B. It's always exciting at this speed range, trying to work out whether runners are going to do 5A or 5B. If you do 5B, by the way, either of you, please just drop straight into it. Don't feel like you have to wait around. Just keep going.
Yeah, good point, Smoke. All right, let's get into Mirror Temple. Beginning in 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome in.
Welcome in, Carrie. Markers is here. Aleph, Geodoc, Relp in the house. What's up, guys?
I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello.
The whole family's here.
This is one of my favorite levels aesthetically, and also to play. And Smoke was talking earlier about 5A versus 5B. Now, someone who's not familiar with speedrunning this game, how would you explain what are we talking about?
So in the game there is in all of the A sides, which is the general, the first stuff that you play. There's something called cassette tapes, and with those cassette tapes you unlock the second side of the game, the B sides, and the B sides are basically just a reimagining of the first level. The C sides as well, and kind of each gets progressively harder but progressively shorter. So speedrunners have worked out that there's a couple of levels where it's worth going through the A side to collect the B side cassette to then play the B side, because that will actually unlock the next chapter, which I feel is like a really good addition for the speedrun routing.
Azmio just faked me out really hard there. I thought he was gonna take the the B side route, but we got
2 5As. You love to see it.
You do.
5A game.
I'm actually excited to see 5A versus 5A right now.
Yeah, 5B is not for me, at least for a while. My best
agree.
time, that is like, I don't know, 502.
It's quite good. It's quite good.
Yeah, I think just from... Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, for a race, with another minute and a half to grab the tape, it's not worth it.
Yeah, 5A, 5B is a big risky for sure. You could definitely get caught up there in a few rooms and lose a ton of time. From what I've seen in terms of just speedrunners that I'm familiar with their times and their runs, somewhere around 40 minutes is when most people start moving into 5B.
Yeah, I think there's a few kind of like different schools of thought, and I think it's just a comfortability thing, really, with playing 5A that has people take even more time to run 5B. But
some people more than others.
Yeah. Wow, as if you would attack me like that. But I think
Can we get 5B? Can you just put 5B in chat if you guys think... If somebody put a poll, actually. Please put a poll. Should Smoke learn 5B right now?
Totally should.
We got 1 vote for yes.
I think that really it's something that you should learn as soon as you can in your speedrunning career. Don't waste time learning 5A. It's really, really fun, but it's slow. The amount of time that you waste learning 5A could be put into way better sources. But this is coming from me, who would prefer to grind old site for 3-4 hours rather than just learn 5B. Because I would prefer to save 1.5 seconds than
Should
30.
Smoke learn 5B is getting a lot of love right now.
God damn it.
A lot of love. Now, I just want to talk really briefly about what we're seeing on screen, because for anybody, again, unfamiliar with the game or the speed run, we're seeing a weird kind of a tentacle monster happening right now in Mirror Temple, and those are called Seekers, and they're kind of deadly.
Yeah, especially in 5A. There's a lot of difficult screens in 5A that the Seekers just make even more annoying. You really got to be on the top of your game with the manipulation of the Seekers in 5A, because they can really make you suffer on the back end of rooms.
Both runners now on a very important skip called the Search Skip, and both runners have completed it. Nicely done. That's one of the most important skips you can learn if you're deciding to speedrun this game. It's not only is it I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 out of 10 on the difficulty scale in terms of technical moves. All it takes is a little bit of practice. It's 10 out of 10 in terms of time save. It saves you from collecting a few keys and having to circle back around, and yeah, it's very, very worth to learn.
Yeah, I think for, if we were to look at the graph of is it hard versus how much time does it save, it's probably the best trick to learn in the entire game.
Yeah, no
And
question.
even before learning, what it is that you're doing, it's a really easy trick to learn, because that little section just sets you up perfectly for it. Both of the runners now have made it into the final section, which is carrying Theo, who is trapped in a block of ice. It could be actually just a mirror block. I'm not entirely sure. But this is an epic section of the game.
Yeah, you have
very, very cool section.
Carrying Theo here presents a unique challenge, because when you're trying to go fast, whoa, okay, Azmio, okay, I just had a heart attack.
Keep on getting lucky.
That was very close there. You have the Seekers chasing you, and Theo slows you down when you're carrying him. You cannot move fast, really, so it's not good if you're trying to speed run. But you can see that players will be trying to use dashes and throwing Theo and catching him, doing whatever they can to kind of maintain some momentum through here with these Seekers chasing them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some very cool strats in these rooms. Azmio just doing the hyper off the moving block there, which is a very cool little trick. But both runners are kind of still, to this point, like very neck and neck.
Extremely close.
Like
Talande with the slight edge here, just finishing up the final screen as Azmio enters the final screen. So as long as he has a nice clean finish, okay, that was good. No problem.
No problem.
No problem. Okay, nice. Talande gonna add a few seconds here. Or I guess Azmio's adding the seconds. But the final little corridor here, you have to move against these energy waves pushing you back. Try and keep Theo in front of you. It's deceptively tricky. There we go. Both runners are through.
Some great movements through there, but that ain't me, Chief.
Okay. Nice Mirror Temple. 1 death Mirror Temple from Talande. I think 3 on Azmio's side. What are we seeing in terms of time, Smoke?
I think that was about a 20-second swing, maybe. Yeah, a 6:07 and a 6:33, which puts this now. Oh god, my maths is off. It's still only about 30 seconds, 28 seconds, maybe 26. Yeah. I'm not sure. But
very close.
That's 1 death on a final reflection screen.
Yeah.
From Talande that had completely just swung it. So it's completely still anyone's game. It's still so close. You want to see some clean reflection now.
Here we go. That's right. Reflection's coming up next, and the runners are in position to go.
These
So-
runners are both like killing it.
They
Like,
really are. They really
great
are.
so far.
Give it up to these runners real quick.
Let's go.
Let's go. Gaming.
You
Okay.
guys are too kind. Too kind.
We biggest fans.
Okay, here we go. Reflection begins in 3, 2, 1, go. Don Waltonhouse, Water with Flavor, Tio, Chemical, Paka, Lock, Bullet Bill, Go Fish.
I'm like, hey, what's up?
There's
Hello.
no way that the premium deathless runner Chemical Packer has made it to this speedrunning event. Incredible. Incredible.
Okay, Reflection is it's another long, I mean it's a long tricky chapter, and both runners right in the beginning you can see they're turning into feathers. This chapter introduces a couple of new mechanics, as most chapters are introducing new things. The Kevin blocks, as we call them here affectionately, you just saw. They will move in whatever direction you kind of smash into them into, and you'll see the runners manipulating that to their advantage during the run. And then you can also see this these feathers, which kind of present a unique challenge, I think.
Yeah, you've got to be on top of your feathering game. There's a few schools of thought as to what is the best control scheme in Celeste. I know that there's a few really good analog players out there, but I really only use the analog for feathering because it's really difficult to do otherwise.
Yeah,
And
same
then
here.
you've got keyboard players who just use their keyboard to feather, and it's absolutely bewildering.
And they're able to do it extremely fast. Yeah, it's a tricky, kind of another tricky thing to add in if you're using D-pad for the majority of the game, and then you have to switch to analog for the feathers. Just physically doing it is kind of when you're in the middle of some technical movement, it can be kind of throwing you off a little bit.
Yeah, it can be. I think it's the one kind of like part of the game where you start to think about what would be the best controller for playing Celeste.
Oh yeah.
I have this conversation with Marcus somewhat regularly because me and Marcus are both controller snobs and want to have the best equipment in our hand that we possibly can. So yeah, being able to get from analog to D-pad is a huge part of that.
This is another chapter like Mirror Temple with diverging paths. The best players in the world, actually some of them don't even do it, but they can go to 6B and beat it technically faster than 6A, but it's extremely difficult. And like I said, even the top tier players don't all do it.
It's ludicrous, honestly, like to think that people are doing 6B instead. Because
Yeah.
6B is absurdly difficult.
It's very difficult, and
Absurdly
if you
difficult.
play it perfectly, it saves maybe 10 seconds or something. It's not like even played well, it's not like it saves you a minute or anything. But this is another level here, Reflection, with kind of diverging, branching paths. And I'm not sure if we saw both players taking different paths, but there are certainly different options here.
Both on the same screen right now, which is the Majama screen.
Yeah, this screen I've died on very often, probably more often than I haven't died on it. But
It was great that it became a meme on the channel, that it was just you finding that room somewhat difficult
so
every
difficult.
single time.
What?
Here's another long vertical screen with some different paths you can take. There's some built-in shortcuts. You can see Talande squeezing through a narrow gap there. There's a few different ways to take this screen as well, and nicely done by Talande. He is through.
Yeah, see a little bit of divergence in path taking there. We had Azmio going right and Talande going left, but both of them.
And now we're
ended
synced up
with a water
again.
section. Yeah,
Nice sync
I
up.
hate this screen. This screen's so frightening. Any section of any game that you're underwater is frightening enough, but in Celeste they put these lovely little pink spikes on either side as well, so that's good.
And here we go into the Battle-In fight. And if you guys brought your hey-yas in chat, this would be the time to bring them out.
This is an excellent section of the game.
So what's the goal here for each player? What's happening?
Okay, so in this section, it's a showdown between you and Badlin, and you are making your way through all these crumbling block sections, just to get. It's actually quite a decent little frame, but you have to get right up to Badlin and give her a little bonk, just so she'll move on a little bit more and let you progress. But this whole while she's firing laser beams at you. She's got Kamehameha. She's got
Spirit bombs.
And everything that could damage you, and all the while you've got to make your way through some pretty intense platforming sections as well. So this is a pretty stressful section, especially this late in the run. This is kind of the last big bit before you going into Summit, so your nerves can really be shot here.
Absolutely, and what you're seeing now is just the beginning. Things get even crazier as we near the end.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild.
It's intense.
There's some screens as you get further down that just really, you've got to be precise with them. Because as I was saying, coming into this level, one death on the back end of some of these really long screens can cost you
big time.
15 seconds maybe.
Easily.
And so if you're not already on good pace, you can be losing a lot of your time save in these sections.
Nice one cycle there by Azmio. And both runners are now on a long vertical screen, heading into the final section of the fight. Talande with a slight lead, and when I say slight, I mean 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's really close. Now this is the section that it all becomes extremely hectic. Each one of these rooms starts so fast and goes from 0 to 100 so fast.
Yeah, we've got
Every
now.
time that you hit Badland, there's another little change up in what's going on in the room, and
Yeah, battling, throwing the energy balls as usual, and now you also have these moving platforms you have to navigate. You're using feathers around spikes and crumble blocks. It's a lot going on, and you can see both runners here handling it very well.
yeah, extremely clean from both players right now. Both on the same screen, same section.
Final screen. Now, this is an important screen because it can be tricky, and it can lose you time if you take a death towards the end, so let's hope they both get through here cleanly.
Yeah, there's some annoying cycles, actually, that you can get yourself stuck into. And you really want to be able to get the feather around the bumper at the end really nicely, but it can be difficult if Badland doesn't want you to.
Nicely done. Both players are through. Azmio struggled a bit there, allowed Talande to pull ahead. But both runners now grabbing the one and only power-up in the game, which is the double dash. You can see each runner now has 2 dashes, which they will use for the rest of this short finish to this chapter, and in the rest of the game in the summit. Nicely done.
Very nice, very nice.
3 death reflection from Talande, very clean. Remember, guys, there's no postcard screen in the summit, so let's take a look at the journals first, and then we'll ready up on the climb screen before we do the countdown. Smoke, what do you see in the journals?
See blistering pace, honestly. Blistering pace. This is some really good stuff. It's still 45 seconds right now, maybe. As I said, quick maths is really bad. But yeah, it's around the 45 seconds mark. So really, again, it can be...
It's honestly, it might as well be tied,
One or two
because
deaths.
going into Summit, it's anything can happen. Absolutely. Anybody's game. You love to see it. What a race so far for these two.
Really, very close race.
This is where I come back. Hopefully.
Absolutely, that's the attitude. I love it.
Let's go. Let's go for a nice clean run on both sides here. I'm gonna do the countdown, and we'll begin Summit. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Summit begins in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Summit is the final chapter of the game, and it is a monster. Summit revisits every chapter so far, and it's bookended by 2 unique sections here. This is the first one, known as 0 meters, where they're going to have to negotiate their way through, and then into 500 meters, where we'll see a revisitation of Forsaken City, and then we'll see a little bit from each chapter thereon.
Yeah, absolutely. There aren't a lot of motifs in the game, really. There aren't a huge load of different mechanics and ideas that the developers played around with. But what they did do with them is they did them so many different ways and utilized all their different stuff so well that it just flows so seamlessly. Like I'm a huge simp for Summit. Like I think that it's absolutely incredible. Such a well-designed level. As I said, like carrying the motifs through from each other level, it's so good. It's so good. And this Forsaken City section now, just you can see it, you can feel it. It's exactly what City was like. The way that Lena Raine did the music to make it, have a different vibe in each section. You can notice it at its best when you go into 1500 meters and it starts having a little spooky section in the back. It's so good.
It's so good. It's amazingly good, and it's also it's a very long chapter, and for speed running, it's a unique challenge because you've just played the whole game up until now, and you're probably feeling the effects of mental fatigue, maybe even hand fatigue, and then the game says, you know what, we're gonna throw the longest chapter in at the end, and with no breaks. You could see probably the longest chapter so far, maybe 7 or 8 minutes, I would say, reflection at this level. And I would say probably you're going to be looking at maybe a 13-minute Summit or so, maybe more, maybe a little less, but
I
it's
think maybe
it's
like 12xx's around this with this stage.
It's a beast. It's a beast of a chapter to finish out on.
Absolutely, it's extremely fun to learn, and a lot of it is, it's not incredibly precise. You can get away with a little bit of messing around, but there are some sections that are actual hellscapes, and you can get into really, really bad zones with it. But 1,000 meters is beautiful. You're getting through all these dream blocks. The movement's just so good through this section. Getting it clean and nice is just it's so nice.
It's very fun, and 1,000 meters is where the fun absolutely ends, as both runners clearing it out and heading now into 1,500 meters, which is
the first circle of hell.
Yeah, just like Celestial Resort was, 1,500 meters is no exception. This is a tricky section to speed run, and there's a few long screens that can really swing your favor for or against you in terms of time.
Absolutely. You want to be getting through this section as cleanly as possible, really. It's extremely painful rooms to get caught up in. And that's it. Again, saying the bad side of muscle memory. It can be so difficult.
Azmio with the slight lead here, and he's going to want to keep that lead and hope that Talande makes some mistakes here, as he's got a little bit of time to make up if he wants to take this race. About
I love
45
seeing
seconds.
Different strats for this long key room, because I only know how to do this room the one way.
Oh yeah,
and it's always troubled me, this room.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that a lot of people say the exact same. It's just one of those awful rooms.
Sometimes it's better to just take your time and be calculated through here, but it's again, it's a constant struggle of wanting to go fast versus wanting to be safe, because sometimes not dying is faster than I mean, it's always faster than dying. But
I will play 1500 meters so slow and carefully.
Yeah,
because the amount of time that can be lost is just unreal.
it is also a momentum thing, right? Because you want to keep your good momentum. If you're not dying and you're moving through cleanly, you kind of have a tendency to like maintain that vibe, and
Absolutely.
you know, you want to keep that going. And once you start getting some deaths, you know, the opposite can happen.
Both runners into 2,000 meters.
Azmio
Which
missing out on
you,
this wall bounce, losing a little bit of time.
It's a tricky little one, actually.
It is, I agree.
But this is the Golden Ridge section of Summit. So we see the wind making another little return. And on the screen that Talande's on now, you see the snowballs again. This is another hellscape room that you really just want to get through first time. There are a few strats.
Oh no, Azmio with a missed dash at the end of the screen is very costly. Absolutely.
Very unfortunate.
What have I done to my lead?
Lovely auto scroller skip on Talande's screen.
We got
Very clean.
A few different ways to get through this auto scroller room.
Everyone compliment Talande's ass now.
The auto scroller skip is affectionately known as ass. There's a few, like I said, a few ways to get through that room, and one of them is the auto scroller. One of them is the auto scroller skip, and then the auto scroller skip is where you skip the auto scroller skip, and that's the one that we just saw from Talande. Lectus in the house. I completely forgot to sign up for this tournament. Don't worry, there's plenty of time to sign up. There'll be an infinite number of Moonberry Cups, and signups are always open.
Carrie made a really good point very recently, I think on Twitter, about how Celeste players have all this incredible dialogue to explain how to play the game, but then also they just post absolute nonsense consistently.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, very accurate.
Just there to copy paste stuff and make it really dumb. But
Okay.
also, if you do an extended wave dash into reverse super into ultra, then this room will be extremely easy. That's exactly what Celeste is like.
Both runners now, as you can see, in the Mirror Temple section of the chapter, known as 2,500 meters.
Yeah, very cool section of the game.
Nice
It's hard to
skip there from Talande.
It's often hard to commentate on Summer because there's so much going on so consistently that you just kind of get lost in it.
It's true. You know, we just want to watch too. You know.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those key things is there's been someone who speedruns Celeste but also watches a lot of Celeste. I find it more stressful watching it than playing it. I get so just caught up in watching it.
We know exactly like the feelings the runners are going through, and you really do learn to kind of like, you can see little adjustments that they've made, or like really close calls that they just had that maybe a casual observer wouldn't see, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe they just pulled that out.
Find down the final room, but unfortunately I made that mistake often as well, the spamming the clown jumper, that left hand side wall. And it just forces you to have not enough stamina.
Yeah, you can run out of stamina there, and nicely recovered there on the second try.
I don't know. I think it's casual. I have no idea.
Oh, it's an annoying one, isn't it?
It really is.
There we go. That's another thing entirely about the muscle memory thing, is that if you do get into a bad cycle with a room and you can't quite get the thing down that you do know how to do, you can just put yourself into such a bad mindset, and then trying to figure out how to do the room casually again because you haven't done it casually in a very long time. It can be difficult.
Azmio now entering 3,000 meters. We can see Talande making his way up 3,000 meters as well. This is the last section of the game, and doesn't relate to any of the previous chapters, but it does introduce a lot of interesting sections, one of which is called Downdraft. You can see the wind now pushing downward on Talande. This is something that's never happened in the game before, and it affects everything everything the runners are doing.
Yeah, no, it can be very finicky. Can downdraft. You've really got to think about what you're doing. It really affects the gravity well, but it is, funnily enough, a bit of a faster section than what comes next in the updraft section of the game. Updraft, you always feel so floaty, and it's annoying.
Yeah, floaty is slow. But there's a lot of tricky sections in this area, and it's going to be important just to try and keep things clean because, again, you're actually seeing something a little bit different here in Summit versus the previous chapters, where normally you would kind of screen transition and that would act as your checkpoint if you took a death. Where Summit's a little bit different, where there's not as many screen transitions in there. You're seeing the players hit these flags, like right now Talande slapping flag 13. That acts as a checkpoint. So if Talande takes a death, they're going to respawn back at that flag.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all just one seamless screen for the most part. There's a couple of screen transitions here and there, going into flag 5. I think there's one, and maybe flag 7 as well. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, there's a lot of just seamless platforming, and that's it. Collecting these flags, or as the case may be, not collecting some of the flags. I know there's definitely a few flags that you can skip. But it can be...
it's dangerous, of course, because then if you take a death, you're going to go back, a few flags.
Yeah, you've really got to make a tactical decision sometimes as to flags that you're willing to skip. If you're not feeling too hot about the next section, or maybe if you're on a good pace and you want to shave off a couple of sections, there's really a lot of things that go into it.
Absolutely. We can see now Talande touching down on flag 4, it looks like. Azmio up to flag 9.
I'm kind of lost in this right now.
Me too. Let's just watch.
Yeah. Very nice Talande.
Nicely done, Talande. Very close to a PB as well. And Azmio finishing it up here. Let's put our energies into chat for a nice clean flag 1 for Azmio. What a race, honestly.
Yeah, some extremely good stuff in this race, and so close as well. Like, both runners so close to their own PBs in their finishing times. It's
Azmio is 3.
absolutely
Wow.
cool. Like, for a no reset run for a race, that's 2 incredibly good ending times.
Absolutely incredible performances by both runners. It ended up being a 43.07 Talande, which again you're talking about 12 seconds away from PB, a 44.23 from Azmio. Really well done. Thank you so much, guys, for racing today.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you, Azmio, for the race, man. That was terrifying.
It was really well done. I was really impressed, especially with just consistency, especially the first. I mean, up until Summit, really, just consistency on both sides was incredible.
That was a pleasure to do some commentary for. That was a really, really good race. And you're both like at that premium moment, I feel, of speedrunning this game. Kind of just a couple of minutes to go to like the 40 mark. It's so much fun at that stage.
Yeah, what a way to kick off the 13th Moonberry Cup. Thanks again, guys. Big thanks to Smoke Pigs as well for co-commentating that race with me.